my name's Gareth and I make videos to help people get high scores in the IELTS test. In last week's video, I talked about writing task 1 and specifically how to write a really good overview in this part of the test. Now, in the comments of that video, someone asked me to explain the steps or the structure for writing an answer for this part of the test. So in this video, I'm just going to explain quite simply and quickly how we can structure our answer for this part of the test. Now, in previous videos, of course, I've explained 2 of the paragraphs we use in this answer. Now, the first one is an introduction and the second one is an overview. And if you haven't seen those videos, then it is worth looking at because I will go into quite a lot of detail and give examples of how to write these 2 paragraphs. But of course, that is not the whole answer. The whole answer has to be more than just these 2 paragraphs because those 2 paragraphs are quite short and we have to show our ability to build larger paragraphs than just these first 2. So what I'll do now is just explain all of the paragraphs that we have to use in this answer. And of course, this is just advice. There are other ways of structuring your answer. I just think this is probably the best and the easiest way to structure your answer to fulfill the requirements of the criteria that the examiner has, and I guess it's the easiest way to get a really high score. And I'll explain why in this video. Now, the structure I would use for an answer in task 1 is a 4-paragraph structure. Now, I know this probably seems like a lot of paragraphs just for 150 words, because that's how many words we have to write in this answer. And of course, if you're going to write 4 good paragraphs, it will go over 150 words, but that is what we're looking for, more than 150. They ask you to write at least 150 words, so we should be writing a bit more than that. So this 4-paragraph structure goes from simple at the top to more complex at the end. And that is showing really good progression. And it makes it easier for the examiner to read. So it improves your coherence as well. Now, we start with the first paragraph, which is the introduction. This will just be 1 sentence paraphrasing the task statement. So it's quite simple. It's a very short paragraph, just a 1-sentence paragraph. And if you want to hear a bit more about paraphrasing the task statement, then I do have a video that's just focused on the introduction. Now, after we've written an introduction, then we can move on to the next paragraph. And the next paragraph is the one I explained in the previous video, which is the overview paragraph. A really important paragraph where you kind of summarize the main things that you see in the image they give you in task 1. We're not putting in any specific details here, it's just a general overview of what you can see. This is a bit more difficult than the first paragraph though, because you've got to choose the important information, but it's just looking at the big picture. So it's slightly more complex than that first paragraph, but nothing too complex here. I advise students to use 2 sentences to write this paragraph. 1 sentence is probably not enough. And remember, we must show progression. So gradually these paragraphs are getting larger and larger. The first one, the introduction, was 1 sentence. And the second paragraph, the overview, is 2 sentences. But we're not done there. We've still got 2 more paragraphs to go. Now, these final 2 paragraphs are the detail paragraphs, where you're going to choose specific details from the image that you have to give in these 2 paragraphs. These are the largest paragraphs. Both of them should be around 3 sentences. That's what I tell students to aim for. So we've got 2 3-sentence paragraphs on the details in the graph. And there's different ways of structuring this, but I think having 2 separate paragraphs for this is a really good idea because you can organize the information logically and effectively so it's easy for the examiner to understand and follow what you're writing about. You'll basically be expanding on the ideas that you've shown in your overview paragraph before. So we're showing progression from that second paragraph in paragraphs 3 and 4. I think if you put this into one giant paragraph that's around 6 sentences, it becomes a little bit disorganized and confusing. Now, of course, you can still get good scores by having one big paragraph. I just think it's better and more effective to split this into 2 paragraphs. So in total, we have 4 paragraphs from beginning to end, moving from basic information to more complex information. The introduction, then the overview, and finally 2 detail paragraphs where you're choosing that specific information. And of course, this will change depending on what task you have. Now, in a future video on writing task 1, I will go into more detail on how to write those detailed paragraphs. Because of course, I've done 2 videos on writing task 1 where we think about the introduction and the overview. But I think it's important that you understand exactly how to write those detailed paragraphs. Now, once you've written your whole answer for task 1 with those 4 paragraphs, it should look something like this. Now, there it is, 4 clear paragraphs, and you can see they're increasing in size gradually, which makes it quite easy to read, and it shows a really good logical progression from beginning to end, from simple to complex. So there we have it. That's the structure, and I hope it's useful to you and that you can try to use that structure yourself to improve your answers for this part of the test. Thanks for watching, and if you did find the video useful, then don't forget to click like, and also if you don't want to miss out on any future videos on similar topics, then remember to click the subscribe button. There we go. Thanks for watching and see you again in the next video.